Improvement doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens when you choose to do one small thing better than yesterday every single day. You don't need to be perfect to grow. You just need to show up with effort, honesty, and the will to keep going when it gets uncomfortable. Progress starts when you stop waiting for motivation and start building habits that move you forward. The more consistent you are, the more powerful you become. Why? Today we will talk about how to get better every single day without feeling overwhelmed or burned out. Real growth isn't about huge wins. It's about small actions that stack up over time. It's about showing up when it's hard and still finding a reason to try again. This is how people change their lives, not with pressure, but with purpose. Today, you'll learn how to build progress into your routine and create a version of yourself that feels proud, not perfect. If you're ready to grow with purpose, stay consistent, and build a better you one day at a time, then let's dive in. Number 1, start your day with one clear, focused goal. Most people wake up and immediately get pulled in 5 different directions. The phone lights up, notifications, emails, someone needs something. The world starts talking before you even open your mouth. And without even realizing it, you're already on defense. You're reacting. You're not in charge. You haven't even had a moment to ask yourself what today is about for you. And that's the problem. Too many people drift through their day like a boat without a rudder, wondering why they never end up where they want to go. But it's not a mystery. If you don't begin the day with intention, the day will decide for you. And chances are, it won't be in your favor. There's a reason why people stay stuck. Why months go by and they're still in the same place, facing the same problems, feeling the same frustration. It's because they never built a system to take control of their day before it starts. One of the strongest habits you can build is this. Wake up and decide on one clear, focused goal for the day. 1, not 10 things. Not a to-do list that drains your energy, just looking at it. One meaningful goal that matters to you. Something that, if you got it done today, you'd feel good. You'd feel proud. You'd feel like you moved forward, even just a little. That's how you start to get better, one day at a time. And I'm not talking about huge, dramatic goals that require an entire team and a miracle. I'm talking about a clear, reachable target that stretches you but doesn't overwhelm you. It could be having a difficult conversation you've been putting off. It could be reading a chapter of a book that sharpens your thinking. It could be finishing a project, following up on an opportunity, doing a workout, staying calm in a moment when you usually snap. Whatever it is, it has to matter to your growth. It has to move you in the direction of the life you're building. And it has to be real something that you can define and measure at the end of the day. Now, here's what happens when you get into the habit of starting your day with one focused goal. You stop wasting time. You stop getting distracted by things that don't matter. You stop saying yes to everything and everyone. You stop living in survival mode. You give your brain a target, and the mind, when it has a target, starts working differently. It starts filtering out the noise. It starts prioritizing. You walk with more purpose. You act with more clarity, because now you're not just awake, you're aware. You're not just going through the day, you're owning it. People often talk about motivation like it's something you either have or don't have. But motivation isn't magic, it's built. And one of the most powerful ways to build it is by giving yourself a reason to feel progress every single day. When you wake up with a goal and you hit it, even a small one, you get a shot of momentum. And that momentum builds confidence. Confidence builds consistency. And consistency builds results. That's how people change their lives. One clear goal followed by action repeated daily. Think about the days when you felt your best. The ones where you looked back at night and said, that was a good day. What made it good? Was it that everything went perfect? No, it was probably because you did something that mattered to you. You followed through on something. You showed up. You challenged yourself. You made progress. That's what makes a day feel worthwhile. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. Starting your day with one focused goal doesn't take much time. 5 minutes, maybe less. But what it does for your direction, your focus, your discipline, it's worth everything. It trains your mind to seek clarity instead of chaos. It teaches you to be intentional instead of reactive. And it gives you a sense of control in a world that always tries to steal it. This habit also gives you something else: freedom. When you start your day with purpose, you're less likely to be hijacked by distractions, by other people's demands, or by the endless stream of urgent things that don't really move the needle for you. You stop getting pulled into problems that aren't yours. You learn how to say no more often because you've already said yes to something important. And that's the kind of power that changes not just your day, but your direction. If you want to get better every single day, start by waking up with clarity. Don't scroll. Don't check. Don't react. Before the world gets a piece of you, give the best of yourself to your future. Sit for a moment. Breathe. Think. What is the one thing that matters most today? What's going to move me forward? What will challenge me to grow, stretch me, improve me, shape me? That's your goal. Write it down. Say it out loud. Keep it in your mind. Build your day around it, and then go do it. You don't need a fancy planner. You don't need a dozen apps. You just need commitment. And if you mess up today, if you miss the mark, you don't quit. You adjust. You try again tomorrow. That's what progress looks like. Not perfection. Not overnight results. Just the discipline of showing up daily with a reason. People are always searching for the secret to success, but it's not hidden. It's not complicated. It's in what you choose to do today. You don't become better by accident. You become better by habit. And one of the most powerful habits you can form is this. Start your day with a clear, focused goal. Something that moves you. Something that matters. Something that makes today count. When you do this over and over, day after day, you become the kind of person who doesn't just dream about improvement, you live it. You earn it. You build it. You stop waiting for things to change and you start being the change. That's when your life starts to feel different. That's when you start to feel proud of the person you're becoming. That's when progress becomes part of your identity. This is how you get better. Not all at once, but one day at a time. And it starts the moment you wake up and choose to lead your day instead of follow it. The moment you ask yourself, what matters most today? And the moment you answer with action. That's how you move. That's how you rise. That's how you win, starting with one clear, focused goal. Number 2, track your progress to stay consistent and motivated. Most people are working hard, but they don't really know where they're going. They're putting in time. They're putting in energy. They're showing up every day. But when you ask them how far they've come, they pause. They hesitate. They can't give you a straight answer because they haven't been keeping track. And when you don't track what you're doing, it's easy to feel like you're not getting anywhere. That feeling kills motivation faster than anything else. When you can't see progress, you start to believe there is none. That's when people quit, not because they're lazy, not because they don't care, but because they lose sight of the results that are quietly building in the background. Progress is not always loud. It doesn't always show up with fireworks. Sometimes it looks like doing something small and invisible day after day. And when you don't track those small wins, they disappear. They get lost in the chaos of the week. And all that effort, all that discipline, all that growth, it feels like it never happened. That's why tracking matters. It brings your work to life. It shows you what's changing. It proves that you're not the same person you were last month. It gives you evidence that your effort is paying off. You don't need to track everything. You just need to track what matters to you. If you're trying to build a habit, write down whether you did it today. If you're trying to improve a skill, log your practice. If you're trying to get healthier, track what you eat, how you move, how you feel. You don't need perfect records. You just need honest ones. Because honesty with yourself builds trust in yourself. And when you trust yourself, you stay committed. That's how consistency becomes possible, not by relying on motivation, but by measuring your movement. The mind works better when it sees proof. When you can look at a page and say, yes, I've been showing up. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm further than I was. That creates fire inside you. It tells your brain this is real. This is working. Keep going. Most people quit because they don't feel rewarded. Tracking is how you reward yourself with the truth of your progress. And that truth is stronger than temporary emotions. It reminds you why you started. It keeps you grounded when things feel slow. It gives you clarity on what's working and what needs to change. Tracking progress also teaches you something important. Consistency is not about being perfect. It's about not quitting. It's about coming back again and again, even when it's hard, even when life gets messy. When you look at your progress over time, you'll see that you had bad days, missed days, off days. But you'll also see something else. You kept going. That's the kind of pattern that builds belief. It reminds you that you're stronger than your excuses, that you can stay in the game even when it's uncomfortable. That kind of consistency turns effort into results. You can track your progress in a notebook. You can use a wall calendar, a spreadsheet, a notes app. It doesn't matter how. What matters is that you do it, that you stop relying on memory, because memory is emotional and unreliable. Your mind will tell you you're not doing enough, but the numbers might say otherwise. When you can look at the last 30 days and see that you've done the right thing 21 times, that's power. That's clarity. That's momentum. And momentum is what keeps people going long after motivation fades. When you track, you also start noticing patterns. You begin to see what times of day you perform best, what habits trigger good days or bad days, what routines make you stronger, and what distractions knock you off course. That insight gives you control. You stop guessing. You start making informed choices. You stop blaming outside circumstances. You start adjusting from the inside. That's what personal responsibility looks like. It's not about being hard on yourself. It's about being real with yourself. It's about knowing exactly what you're doing, how often, and what kind of results it's producing. And here's the truth. If you don't track your progress, you don't own your growth. You hand it over to chance. And you're not here to live by chance. You're here to improve, to grow, to build something better. And that kind of life doesn't happen without accountability. Progress that's not tracked is progress that's easily forgotten. And forgotten progress leads to self-doubt. But when you see your own growth on paper, in charts, in calendars, in logs, it reminds you that change is happening. Even if it's slow, even if it's quiet, it's real. And that's what builds discipline. You also give yourself a psychological edge when you track. You give your mind something to compete against yourself. You create a benchmark. You start saying, last week I did 5, this week I'm going for 6. That small competitive drive builds inner fire. It turns the process into a challenge, a game, a mission. And that's when you stop dreading the work. You start enjoying the push. You start wanting to show up, not because you have to, but because you want to beat your last record. That's where motivation comes from progress that you can actually see and feel. People think motivation is some mysterious force that comes and goes. But in reality, motivation is a byproduct of progress. And progress is a byproduct of action. And action becomes powerful when you track it. It becomes meaningful. It becomes visible. And visible progress fuels the mind to keep going. You don't need outside applause. You don't need someone watching. You just need a simple way to tell yourself, I'm doing the work. I'm improving. I'm becoming better. Without tracking, days blend into each other. You forget the effort you made, you lose the lessons. But with tracking, every day has weight. Every action has a place. Every small win becomes a part of the bigger picture. And when you look back in a few months, you'll see a journey that wasn't obvious in the moment, but became clear through the record you kept. Tracking your progress gives your effort meaning. It turns invisible growth into visible proof. It keeps you consistent. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you motivated. It's not flashy. It's not exciting. But it's one of the most powerful habits you can build if you're serious about getting better every single day. Because improvement isn't about guessing. It's about knowing. And by keeping track, that's how you stay in control. That's how you stay consistent. That's how you stay moving forward even when life tries to pull you backward. You don't lose sight of the work. You don't forget what you've done. You carry it with you day after day until the results become undeniable. Number 3, learn one new thing that challenges your thinking. It's easy to stay comfortable with what you already know. Most people stick to the same ideas, the same beliefs, the same way of seeing the world. It feels safe. It feels familiar. But comfort zones don't create growth. They create stagnation. When you never stretch your mind, you never expand your possibilities. You remain locked inside a box that limits what you can do, who you can become, and how far you can go. The harsh reality is this. If you don't push yourself to learn something new that challenges your thinking every single day, you will slowly become smaller, not bigger. You will shrink inside your own mind and stop growing as a person. The process of learning something new isn't always easy or fun. Sometimes it feels awkward or uncomfortable. Sometimes it makes you question what you thought was true. That's exactly why it matters. Because growth doesn't come from repeating what you already know. It comes from wrestling with new ideas, exploring different perspectives, and adjusting your thinking based on fresh information. If your mind doesn't stretch, it won't grow. And if your mind doesn't grow, your life stays the same. Learning something that challenges your thinking is like exercise for your brain. It wakes up parts of you that have been dormant. It forces you to pay attention, to analyze, to understand, to rethink. It forces you to question your habits, your opinions, your assumptions. When you do this consistently, your ability to solve problems improves. Your creativity rises. Your confidence in making decisions grows. You become sharper, clearer, more capable of handling the unexpected. The kind of learning that creates real change is not just reading facts or memorizing information. It's about engaging with ideas that push back against your current way of seeing the world. It's about stepping into discomfort. For example, you might read a book or listen to a talk that challenges your beliefs. You might explore a new skill that feels unfamiliar and difficult. You might ask questions that force you to think deeper than usual. This kind of learning forces you to evolve mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. Most people avoid this kind of mental challenge because it feels risky. It can shake up their confidence. It can make them feel vulnerable. They might fear looking foolish or admitting they don't know everything. But the truth is, real strength comes from admitting you don't know everything and being willing to learn. It's the willingness to face discomfort head-on that separates those who grow from those who remain stuck. Growth is never comfortable, but it's always worth it. When you commit to learning something new every day that challenges your thinking, you also open the door to new opportunities. New ideas lead to new actions. New actions lead to new results. You start seeing possibilities you never noticed before. You find solutions to problems you thought were unsolvable. You gain insights that improve your relationships, your work, your confidence. The more you stretch your mind, the more your life stretches in response. One important part of this habit is to be intentional about what you learn. Don't just consume random information without thought. Choose things that are relevant to your goals and growth. Focus on subjects that make you uncomfortable or curious. Seek out perspectives that differ from yours. The goal isn't just to collect facts, but to challenge your worldview and expand your understanding. That's how learning becomes transformation. The moment you start to feel resistance or discomfort when you try to learn something new, that's the moment to lean in. That resistance is a signal that your mind is being stretched. It's a sign you're growing. When you push through that resistance regularly, you build mental resilience. You become less fearful of the unknown. You learn how to think critically. You develop the confidence to change your mind and admit when you're wrong. All of these qualities make you stronger, wiser, and more adaptable in life. Another part of this process is reflection. Don't just rush through new information. Take time to think about how it fits with what you already know. Ask yourself questions. How does this change my view? What can I do differently because of this? What new habits or actions might this inspire? Reflection makes learning real. It turns passive intake into active growth. It connects new ideas to your daily life. It's also important to remember that learning is not a race. You don't need to absorb everything at once. The goal is progress, not perfection. It's better to focus deeply on one new challenging idea each day than to skim many without understanding. This kind of focused learning builds depth and meaning, not just surface knowledge. Over time, these small mental stretches add up to big shifts in how you think, act, and live. Learning new things that challenge your thinking doesn't require a classroom or a formal teacher. You can find challenges everywhere: books, podcasts, conversations, articles, even observing different cultures or experiences. The key is to seek them out actively and welcome them with an open mind. When you do this, you create an environment for growth that no one can take away from you. Your mind becomes your greatest asset. In daily life, this habit changes how you respond to difficulties. When faced with a problem, instead of feeling stuck or overwhelmed, you begin to see it as an opportunity to learn something new. You develop curiosity instead of fear. You start asking better questions. This shift in mindset is powerful because it keeps you moving forward, even when things get tough. The mental discipline required to challenge your thinking daily also trains your patience. Sometimes the new ideas you encounter won't make sense right away. You might disagree. You might feel frustrated. But with patience, you let ideas settle. You give yourself time to digest and grow into them. That slow, steady mental work creates a foundation for deeper understanding and better decision-making. By making it a daily habit to learn one new thing that challenges your thinking, you become the kind of person who is never satisfied with the status quo. You become a lifelong learner who embraces change instead of fearing it. This mindset attracts opportunities, relationships, and experiences that support your growth. It positions you to handle whatever life throws your way with greater wisdom and strength. In the end, learning that challenges your thinking isn't just about knowledge. It's about transformation. It's about becoming a better version of yourself each day. It's about refusing to settle for comfortable thinking and instead embracing the hard work of mental growth. When you do this every day, you don't just improve your skills, you improve your life. Number 4, reflect daily on what worked and what didn't. Most people move through their days without ever stopping to think about what they're actually doing. They finish one task, jump to the next, go through the motions, check off boxes, and before they know it, the day's gone. Then they go to bed frustrated or unfulfilled, not because they didn't try, but because they never slowed down long enough to figure out why things didn't feel right. And the scary part? They repeat the same cycle the next day. And the day after that, they carry the same mistakes, the same distractions, the same patterns over and over again. They keep running forward without ever checking their direction. That's how you lose years. That's how progress slips through your fingers. If you want to get better every day, you can't just keep doing things without thinking. You have to pause. You have to look back before you look ahead. You need to take a few minutes each day to ask yourself, what actually worked today? What didn't? What helped me move forward and what held me back?